Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital. Did Portia play dirty? Who rigged Heather's blood test? General Hospital spoilers hint Portia Robinson could be the reason that Heather Weber's blood test came back wonky. Or it might be another factor in play. There's a rat in the lab. But who did the dirty deed? Rick Lansing is on the case with a little help from Elizabeth Weber. So, Portia, or someone else, might wind up losing their job over this stunt. The red flags might point to the wrong person after Dr. Terry Randolph made a scandalous rehire on GH. General Hospital spoilers. Portia Robinson looks guilty. General Hospital spoilers recall that during Drew Quartermain's campaign event, Curtis Ashford overheard his wife Portia, Brooke Kerr, on the phone. She was calling the lab to check on Heather Weber's, Allie Mills, blood test. When Curtis asked about it, Portia told him Heather was out of Pentonville and at GH for a blood draw. It's for her lawsuit that Scott Baldwin, kin Shriner, was handling. We saw Portia upset on GH when she found out Heather got a new shark on her side. Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst, replaced Scotty as Heather's lawyer, and he's ruthless. Portia insisted she do Heather's blood draw. Then, when she was back at the nurse's station, she stared intently at that blood vial. I suspected then that Portia tampered with the test, but now wonder if that was a red herring on General Hospital. Recap for the week saw Rick telling Heather bad news. Her case is dead in the water. Both civil and her criminal conviction appeal. GH spoilers. Heather Weber's wonky test results intrigue Rick. GH spoilers for this past week confirmed Rick telling Heather the blood work shows her cobalt level hasn't changed post-surgery. They needed to see lower cobalt levels to proceed. He says her hip implant didn't cause her to kill those people. It was just her being bad. But he listened closely on General Hospital as Heather Weber insisted that can't be true. She feels totally different now. She's remorseful and can't fathom why she did those hook killings. Heather seems very sincere. The tipping point for Rick was when Heather offered him genuine condolences on the recent loss of his first grandchild. The baby that Molly Lansing, Haley Poulos, and T.J. Ashford, Taj Bello, lost was family to him. Heather might be one of the very few people who have sympathized with him over losing his granddaughter. That's what led him to dig deeper and run back to General Hospital to talk to Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst. Rick showed her two sets of test results for Heather. One from the GH lab showed that Heather's cobalt levels hadn't changed. The other, from an independent lab, showed a drastically different result. Liz immediately noticed something was off, confirming Rick's suspicion. General Hospital. Portia looks bad. But is Brad Cooper to blame? General Hospital showed this chain of events. Portia drew the blood and the lab ran the test. The independent lab either got a blood sample from Heather at Pentonville, or Portia took one sample and someone from the independent lab took another. These drastically different results from two labs tripped up the plan. But was it Portia Robinson's plan? Or was it someone else's? Or was it a conspiracy to keep Heather Weber behind bars on GH? A month ago, Brad Cooper, Perry Shen, returned to GH, asking Co-Chief of Staff Terry Randolph, Cassandra James, for his lab tech job back. They rehashed his bad deeds, and Terry said she'd think about it. Then, in this week's General Hospital spoilers promo for Monday the 23rd, there's a scene of Portia confronting Terry about rehiring Brad. So, that's interesting because it could mean Portia Robinson isn't the test rigger. It could be Brad. And he'd have good reason for doing so. Heather Weber killed his best friend Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thibault. She was one of the last hook killer victims. No way would Brad want Heather going free. He might have even sought the job to prevent it. As of now, Portia Robinson looks guilty since she did the draw. And she's the mother of one of Heather's intended victims, Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ali. That fact alone means Portia should have never been alone with Heather. Portia is terrified Heather is still a danger to Trina and will get out of prison to come after her again. In the end, Rick has to do what's best for his client. That's to expose that someone at GH compromised their integrity and test tampered. But was it Brad or Portia Robinson? Port Charles never lacks for scandal, and this latest one could be a bombshell that detonates across several families. Heather Weber's miraculous recovery has everyone talking, but now whispers are spreading that someone tampered with her blood test results. The question everyone's asking is, did Dr. Portia Robinson play dirty? Or is someone else behind the medical manipulation that could turn the hospital, and Heather's fate, upside down? Heather's cure. Too good to be true? When Heather's blood test came back showing that the cobalt poisoning from the hip replacement was fully flushed from her system, it seemed almost like divine intervention. After months of raving and violence, the woman once deemed irredeemable suddenly seemed lucid, remorseful, and in control of her faculties. Heather claimed to remember everything, her crimes, her pain, and her twisted love for her daughter Esme. She even expressed a desire to make amends. "I can't undo what I did," she told Laura and Dante, "but maybe I can finally do something right." But not everyone bought it. Elizabeth, who's seen Heather's manipulative side firsthand, was immediately skeptical. "She's faking it," Liz told Finn. "Heather Weber doesn't just wake up cured and self-aware. Something's off." And that's when the rumor mill started spinning, because apparently, not everyone believes the lab results were legitimate. Portia under fire. Dr. Portia Robinson has been under pressure from all sides lately, professionally and personally. GH's new chief of staff has been juggling tight budgets, staff shortages, and her own tangled family drama with Curtis, Trina, and Spencer's ghost still haunting her daughter's heart. So when Heather's case landed in her lap, Portia reportedly took a hands-on approach. Multiple nurses noticed that Portia personally oversaw Heather's follow-up testing, unusual for a department head who typically delegates. According to one insider, aka a chatty orderly at the nurses' station, Dr. Robinson was acting like she didn't trust anyone else to touch those samples. She double-checked the vials, relabeled things, and even sent the courier off herself. It was weird. If Portia did tamper with Heather's results, what would be her motive? Some fans think it's obvious. She's protecting Trina. After all, Heather's connection to Esme and the chaos surrounding the Cassadines still haunts Trina. Portia spent months blaming everyone but herself for the trauma her daughter endured. If Portia thought keeping Heather out of Pentonville, or closer to a hospital setting, might somehow prevent future harm to Trina, she might justify bending a few ethical rules. Believe she might have had a different reason entirely: to protect GH's reputation. The cobalt poisoning scandal, stemming from faulty medical device recalls, nearly tanked the hospital's public image. If Heather's test had shown long-term complications, it would have drawn renewed scrutiny on GH's surgical oversight. Portia might have decided one falsified blood test was a lesser evil compared to another PR disaster. Could someone else be the puppet master? Of course, in Port Charles, no secret stays buried for long, and no scheme is ever as simple as it looks. If Portia didn't manipulate Heather's blood work, who did? Let's look at the top suspects. 1. Cyrus Renaud, the redemption ruse. Cyrus has been walking a fine line between sinner and saint lately. His pious act and supposed newfound faith haven't fooled everyone. With his growing influence among the hospital's board donors, he might have found a way to use Heather's case to prove his supposed commitment to rehabilitation. If he arranged for Heather's results to be falsified, it could serve two purposes: win over the board by championing a reformed patient success story and destabilize Portia's leadership by making her look either complicit or incompetent when the truth comes out. Cyrus thrives on chaos cloaked in charity. It's his signature move. 2. Elizabeth Weber, the guilt factor. Liz may have her suspicions, but what if she's not as innocent as she seems? After years of seeing her patients manipulated by Port Charles power players, she could have quietly interfered, intending to observe Heather's behavior under the illusion of being cured. If Liz swapped or altered a sample, thinking it would expose Heather's deceit, it might now backfire spectacularly. A well-intentioned deception could easily spiral into a career-ending scandal. And if Finn gets dragged in as collateral damage, well, that could be the breaking point for Fizz once and for all. 3. Heather herself, the ultimate manipulator. Never count Heather Weber out. She's as resourceful as she is dangerous. A little medical sleight of hand wouldn't be beyond her, especially if it bought her sympathy or leniency. Could she have bribed a lab tech, or switched a blood sample herself while in transit? If Heather's so-called cure is a facade, her newfound clarity might just be another long con, one designed to get her closer to Esme or even to wreak revenge on the system that locked her away. And with Esme missing, presumed dead, Heather could be playing the ultimate long game, faking recovery to get out, find her daughter, and take down anyone who stood in her way. Laura's dilemma: justice or compassion? Mayor Laura Collins finds herself once again torn between compassion and justice. Heather's been the source of unspeakable pain, but also a victim of her own illness. When the suspicions about the rigged test reach her desk, Laura will face a heartbreaking choice. Protect Heather's fragile recovery and hope for redemption, or expose the truth and risk undoing everything. Kevin's psychiatric insight will add another layer of conflict. He may vouch that Heather seems stable, but he'll caution Laura. If her recovery isn't real, if it's built on deception, it's only a matter of time before she unravels again. Curtis and Jordan get pulled in. Meanwhile, Curtis might be the one to dig deeper when Portia starts acting cagey. His detective instincts will kick in, especially if he senses she's hiding something to protect Trina. Jordan, ever the voice of reason, might re-enter the picture professionally, investigating medical record tampering. That would pit her directly against Portia in a high-stakes game of ethics and deceit. Curtis could find himself caught in the middle, forced to decide which woman he believes, a decision that could once again threaten his fragile marriage. The fallout: secrets always surface in Port Charles. If the blood test tampering is exposed, GH could face another institutional scandal. Careers could end overnight. Portia might lose her position, Cyrus could leverage the chaos to reclaim control, and Heather, well, she might slip right through their fingers and disappear again. Meanwhile, Finn and Liz's careers could hang in the balance if their lab is implicated. Dante would be tasked with investigating, while Laura and Kevin navigate the moral storm of whether Heather's newfound remorse was ever real. And through it all, Heather might just be smiling to herself, watching the chaos she set in motion. "Did you really think," she might say in one chilling scene, "that I needed poison to be dangerous?" Final prediction: the truth will stain more than blood. No matter who rigged Heather's test, Portia, Cyrus, or Heather herself, the fallout will ripple across Port Charles. Trust will shatter. Reputations will crumble. And one chilling truth will emerge. In this town, redemption is always temporary, and blood never lies for long.